What's up everybody? Today I will be discussing the geography of Brazil. This video is for people who want to know a little bit more about Brazil. I know most of my subscribers are Brazilians, but please share this with one of your friends who would like to get to know Brazil a little bit better. And there are some people out there who know nothing about Brazil, which is very surprising because it's one of the biggest countries in the world, not just in terms of population, but also geographical size. It makes up about 48% of the South American continent. It borders almost every country in South America except for Ecuador and Chile. It even borders France. Yes, France has an overseas department in French Guiana, which is actually the biggest border that France shares with a foreign country. Little fun fact. Typically when you think of Brazil, you think of either the Amazon rainforest or Rio de Janeiro, and you would be correct, but Brazil is a lot more than just those two things. First of all, Brazil is broken up into states, 26 federal states, similar to the United States where each state has their own governor and assembly. And there's a federal district, similar to Washington, D.C., where Brasilia is located, the country's capital. No, it's not Rio. It was Rio up until the 1960s, but now it's Brasilia. We can put these states into different regions, okay, different micro-regions. We have the north, which is home to the Amazon, but there are some major cities, including Belém and Manaus. Manaus has over 2 million inhabitants, so it's not just forest, but transportation in between cities is very difficult and usually can only be done by means of boat through the river system. Not many highways in that region of the country. Then we have the Northeast, which is very hot and dry in the interior part of the region. On the coastline of the Northeast, you have many tropical cities such as Fortaleza, Recife, Salvador, that are very hot but can get a nice little trade wind to cool them down at times. But the interior of the Northeast suffers from extreme droughts. That region of the country is known as the Sertão, or in English, the Backlands. The Sertão makes up a very important part of the national identity of Brazil. Then we have the Southeast, probably the most famous region, as it's home to Rio de Janeiro and São Paulo. Both Rio de Janeiro and São Paulo are cities, but also states, similar to New York City and New York State. The capital city of the states are Rio and São Paulo respectively, and also home to the state of Minas Gerais. This is the most fertile area of the country and home to most of the economic activity. And I can't forget about Espírito Santo. It's the smallest state in the region and they often get forgotten, but I just wanted to give a little shout out to my capixabas, as they are known from Espírito Santo. Then we have the Central West. This is home to the capital, Brasilia. In most areas, it's a dry grassland, home to a lot of cattle farming and soybean production. Different from the Southeast, which has a lot of sugarcane and coffee production. They say São Paulo is the city that coffee built, and most of São Paulo's fortune was built on coffee. The Central West also has a swampland region called the Pantanal, something similar to the Everglades in Florida, but much bigger. It's actually the size of the whole state of Florida. It's a great area for some natural tourism. And of course, we have the South. The South is home to the states of Paraná, Santa Catarina, and Rio Grande do Sul. For all you soccer fans, people from Rio Grande do Sul are called gaúchos, and that is why the famous soccer player Ronaldinho in Brazil is usually known as Ronaldinho Gaúcho, because he's from Rio Grande do Sul. A little fun fact. These areas are subtropical and have the most distinct seasons. They're also home to a lot of European immigration, and they have a distinct character from the rest of Brazil. Actually, all the regions have their own distinct character. One of the reasons I find Brazil so fascinating. Let's take a look at Brazil's different climates. So the north is on the equator, home to the Amazon, and generally is hot all year round. They have a wet and a dry season, but you can expect rain for most of the year. It's hot and muggy. The northeast on the coast, as I said, is very, very hot. It's tropical, but you can get some trade winds to cool you down at times. In the interior, home of the Sertão, is a hot desert-like area, kind of similar to Arizona. They have a lot of problems with drought. That has led to a lot of serious crop failure and famine. A lot of people from that region have made the journey to the southeast to settle in cities such as Rio and São Paulo. When we talk about the southeast, temperatures can vary For example, Rio has a similar temperature to a city like Salvador. It's very hot all year round, but you can get a nice trade wind. Sao Paulo is off the coast a little and cooler because of its high elevation, and in the winter can get quite chilly. The capital of Minas Gerais, Belo Horizonte, is similar to Sao Paulo. I would say a little bit hotter than Sao Paulo and doesn't get as cold in the winter. The south is the most temperate of all the climates. In some areas in the mountains in the south, you can even find snow. Pretty rare, but it does snow every once in a while. As for the different ecosystems, we have the Amazon Basin in the northeast, we have the Pantanal, the swamp area in the central west, and south of the Pantanal you can find Foz do Iguaçu, the Iguaçu Falls, which create a triple frontier with Argentina, Paraguay, and Brazil. There is another rainforest in Brazil, the Atlantic Rainforest. The city of Rio de Janeiro is actually home to the Tijuca Forest, which is the largest urban rainforest in the world. The typical cities in the southeast are separated by the Serra do Mar, a mountain range that separates the interior of the country from the coastline. One of the reasons it has been difficult to develop the interior of the country. Brazil is a very large country with tons of things to explore. I wanted to give a brief summary of some of the geographic regions. It's important to know that Brazil is not one monolith. It's not the Amazon, it's not Rio. It's many different cultures and climates that make up this wonderful, interesting country. If you're interested in learning more about Brazil, I made a playlist in English. If you are Brazilian, feel free to share it with your non-Portuguese speaking friends or your English speaking friends, and I will see you next time. Peace.